Yo, what's good? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So, listen, look, I had a few. I had this run across my one of my feeds and stuff like that. And yes, this is off World Star. And man, wow, we have a woman here that married a Caucasian man, and she basically had moved to Alaska with him. There with his family, stuff like that. And it just went totally sideways out here. It just went crazy. So listen, look. What we're going to do here now, we're going to dive off into this. And of course, like always, it's going to be quarters, nickels, and dimes.
The Camaro that I financed under my name for my husband, who has now abandoned me for his good-for-nothing family. This is the car that I'm stuck with. It's really nice. Today is officially day one of me being homeless here in Alaska. And so, yes, guys, I am officially homeless.
Okay, so before we get too deep, obviously this is Alaska of course, it's summer months, stuff like that. Because anybody that knows anything about where Alaska's located, it's up at the tip of the United States. It's not even truly it's really almost really not connected to the actual new United States. It's at the very top tip, outlashing the Pacific Ocean. So it gets very cold in Alaska. Wintertime is very brutal in Alaska. It's no games up there. It's no time to play around up there. Not during the wintertime. So yeah, for her to be truly homeless up there in Alaska, that's gonna cause major problems once wintertime really comes around. Let's keep this 100 up here. And be honest with you, I'm shocked that they even have fucking Camaros up there because most northern cities have a tremendous amount of snow during winter. So I can imagine that Alaska has a huge amount of fucking snow. So let's keep going.
Currently here at this beautiful hotel here in Alaska. So it's not like I am on the streets, but I'm still homeless because I am without a permanent, stable place to stay for right now, but I will figure it out like I've always had to do. I uprooted my whole entire life from Massachusetts to follow behind my husband, who has now abandoned me for his family. And so I am now out here alone, homeless, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Something happened with his mom yesterday. And long story short, she put hands on me. A lot of nasty things were said. She pretty much told me I was no longer welcome there at the house. Of course, Kennedy's still welcome because that's his family. So he stayed there. I begged him to come with me. I said, babe, we can figure this out. I hate when your family is in the middle of our affairs because it's like.
Okay, so obviously she liked him a little bit more, okay?
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Let's just keep that 100. And I'm not knocking that because at the end of the day, listen, look, fellas, you know what I'm saying, and ladies, if you're hearing this, you're supposed to actually follow your man. If you really like men, okay, that's just 100. If he's going to be the leader of the family and things like that, you're supposed to follow him. Now, did he lead her? I mean, But this is the thing right here. It sounds like, yes, he's really super attached to his family and things like that as a man. But that's neither here nor there. We haven't dived off deep enough. Let's keep going. Let's check out more.
It's a recipe for disaster to have anyone really in the middle of a marriage. to have anyone involved in your relationship is a recipe for disaster. And since we've been here, his family has been all up in our business, all up in our Kool-Aid, in between our marriage, saying this, saying that, whispering in his ears. And it's like, there's no privacy. And so I said, look, let's leave. Let's figure it out. Let's stay at a hotel for as long as we can. Get an Airbnb, something. Find us an apartment. But we don't need to depend on your family. We don't need to depend on your grandma. You've seen the way they've treated us, treated you. Like, let's just go. And he told me no. I said, so you're gonna choose your family, your good for nothing family at that. And he's told me everything that his family has ever done to him. They abandoned him at an early age. He was forced to be on the streets at 14, 15, living from place to place, bouncing from place to place, because his family gave up on him and abandoned him.
Okay, so dude got trauma. Listen, look. And this what actually happens out here when a lot of men and women try to get with individuals and they have trauma like this. It works for both ways. And she got with a dude that had all these issues. Now we're only going by what she said that he told her, okay? We can only go by that because we don't have the other side of the story. But to go by what she just said about the abandonment issues, things like that he's dealt with from this family, and he's trying to also do what he needs to do for himself to try, I guess, to amend things with his family. He wants to try to have his family and stuff like that. And it seems to be that that's more important to him than her. Okay. So that's the reason why he would rather stick with them throughout all that trauma and issues and stuff like that. And that kind of how it happens sometimes when people go through a lot of major trauma and they don't actually work on themselves and try to reach out to get out of that. They will stick with it and try to, work with it and try to hope that things get better and stuff like that when it really doesn't. Let's keep going.
And we bonded over that. Pretty much it was like trauma bonding, because I also experienced similar situations with my family where I felt alone, and I wasn't necessarily abandoned by my family, but I was abused a lot. And eventually I left home to join the military, and I never really looked back. And
Okay, so she a military woman. She had her own issues with her own family, stuff like that, and things like that happen. You do get in situations where you will trauma bond with people, and definitely that things like that. You also get situations where people are healed and they end up getting with people that have trauma as well. So
So what the French toast is there to think about?
things like that do happen. And for a healed person, they definitely have to watch out for that, because the thing of this is when you're healed and the person that you're dealing with is not, you really have to go ahead on and get away from that person, because it's not going to end well for you. It's only going to pull you to a place to where you ought not need to go. Okay.
so we bonded over the fact that our families weren't the best, and all we had really was each other. So for you to now choose that situation over your wife, especially knowing that I gave up everything to move here with you, is crazy. And the reason why my husband had to move here to Alaska is because years ago he had a warrant out for his arrest, and he fled the state instead of staying here and taking care of the warrant. He fled the state. He got into an accident. It was him and his friend. His friend got permanently injured from the accident, so his friend is currently still in a hospital, and it's now 2024. So yeah, and this happened back in like 2017, I believe 2018. So he finally decided to take care of the situation. That's why we're back here in Alaska. He's looking into house arrest. But of course, with house arrest, you have to have stability. You have to have established yourself here in the state. So he got a job even before we got here. And so when we got here, he started to work like 2 days later. And the reason why he feels like, I guess he has to stay with his grandma is because it's stable, and he feels like we won't get an apartment or something more permanent in time for him to apply for his house arrest, because it takes about 30 days. And he's saying that he has less than 30 days. But I don't know. It's complicated. So that's
Okay, see, that's the issue right there. That's the whole issue.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
Jesus Christ. That's a whole issue. So he goes back. He's trying to get things cleared up from that accident, things like that, which he caught charges for. Obviously, it had to been of course, they deemed it his fault. So it may have been some drunk driving involved, stuff like that. Who knows how it really went down? She didn't go into detail, but it had to have been something major in order for them to go ahead on and give him the charges and actually put him on papers like that. So yeah. All right, now he's dealing with that. He goes back, try to deal with that, things like that. It's a limited amount of time. He needs stable housing, stuff like that. So obviously he's trying to register with his family in order to have that stability, which it does take that in order to deal with those type of people. When you're talking about being on papers and charges and stuff like that, you have to have a legitimate residence, or else, of course, they probably already been looking for him. But now that he's back and he's trying to deal with it, yeah, he has to have a stable situation. So that's going to create chaos with what's going on here due to the fact that, and we heard about the trauma and all that stuff that he went through, with the family, stuff like that. Okay, let's keep going.
It's pretty much why we're here. I didn't really want to be here. My plan initially was to stay in Massachusetts, have him come alone. But how could I, as a wife, allow my husband to deal with something like this alone? We don't have that kind of money to get a second vehicle. This vehicle was already expensive enough. We had to pay $6,000 on a down payment for a $15,000 vehicle. I still have close to...
Okay, somebody's credit was fucked up out there. Ain't no way. Listen, look, I'm not even a huge finance guy. Okay, like, listen, look, I'm definitely not. But I'm not dumb enough to put $6,000 down on a $15,000 vehicle. Listen, look. Oh, hell no.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
What the?
You old fish-eyed fool.
That's crazy.
10 grand left to pay off on the loan. It's like we can't afford. On top of that, our insurance is $500 some dollars, because initially it was only 200 and something. But when I had to add my husband to the insurance, it bumped up because my husband has had a lot of accidents and stuff in the past. So we can't afford another vehicle. And so I was.
This is another problem. When you get in with people out here, you need to also check their records. Yeah, I hit that button right there, but it's really not funny. You need to check the records of the people that you're dealing with here when you go to trying to get married and stuff like that. All that shit adds up in the 21st century. They got records and definitely a shit ton of accidents, all that type of stuff. That's gonna drive insurance rates and premiums up to the fucking sky.
Thank me
here
in the morning.
You ain't right, man.
Oh, I'm right. You'll see.
It's gonna drive them up to the sky. Like, seriously.
I was like, what? Why is she so mad that I asked my husband for a key to a vehicle that's mine? And so I was just so confused. And I called my husband. I said, you know what? Look, I am going to give the vehicle over to you guys. Since it's such a problem that I'm asking for the key to a vehicle that I own, it's under my name. I said, what we can do is go to the car dealership, you and your mom, since your family always wants to be bragging about how $80,000 is nothing to them. They always want to brag about their multiple houses and properties and money that they have in the bank. I said, why don't your mom help you then? So then, my husband came and he was trying to reason with me. He was pretty much condoning her behavior. And I was like, nah, like, you see, this is what I'm talking about. I don't feel protected by you. I told him straight up, I do not feel protected by you. I feel like, you don't put me first. Don't you see that's ruining?
Okay, this is the thing. She's saying she's not protected. She doesn't feel protected. She doesn't feel covered. When you decide to dedicate yourself to a marriage, this is something in the 21st century that y'all don't understand, that you don't really realize. When you are dedicating yourself to a marriage, things like that, you're supposed to wing off of your family for a certain period of time and things like that in order to bond together. That's how that works. Once you get that true bond and true connection, there's nothing else that's supposed to come in between that. Family members, all that type of shit. At that point, they are outsiders in your relationship.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
whatever, because the intricate plots that go on in your dynamic of your relationship are for you and your significant other. They're not for everybody else to know. They're not for everybody else to critique upon, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely if you're dealing with family members that don't have healthy mindsets, if they're not promoting you guys to stay together and work things out, because every relationship is going to have its ups and downs. That's how life works. It's no way possible. I don't care whether it's personal, business, whatever. If they're not promoting you guys to stay together, definitely in family dynamics, then it's a no-go. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep those people out your business.
Our relationship. And so me and him started arguing back and forth. I don't know where his mom went at that point, but at that point I was over it. So I slammed the door. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be dealing with this shit no more. I really don't want to argue in the first place. So I simply slammed my room door. All of a sudden I heard his mom yelling, don't be slamming that effing door, blah, 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 blah. Mind you, it's not her house. All I hear is her running up the stairs. Mind you, she is drunk. Like, this woman stays drinking. This woman drinks like 12 cans of beer every day. She's an alcoholic, right? And I know how crazy she gets when she starts drinking. So I already expected her to try to do something. But at the same time, like, what she did next caught me by surprise, guys. So anyways, all I hear is her running up the stairs. Boom, boom, boom. I told you not to slam that effing door. This woman busts down the door. Mind you, I am naked in my room. I had just hopped out the shower, guys. I am naked. I literally had to grab a blanket and cover myself real quick because this woman busted through the door. I said, yo, don't you see I'm naked? What are you doing? Like, you're invading my privacy. And what's so crazy is the day before, I had a long sit down with her, a talk with her about people in the house invading my privacy. I remember one time, me and my husband, we were about to get it in, yo. And tell me why his cousin bust down the door. Like, my husband's thing was dang near about to slide in, and this cousin bust down the door while we were about to do it. Luckily, the room was dark.
So hold on. Y'all don't have no locks on the damn doors? Hold up.
Hey, what the French toast is there to think about?
Hold up. So y'all don't have any locks on the doors. But at the same time, though, too, that's neither here nor there. Okay? You know, yeah, they should have been figuring it out. You know, like she said at first, in the first segment of this video, they should have got the room stuff. Like, she's in the room now. They should have been in the room trying to figure things out. But, you know, it goes back to the factor of what he needed to have as far as the stability, you know, for the being on papers and stuff like that, so they could track him and things like that, to where he could serve his paper time or whatever they was going to give, whatever punishment they was going to give him for the crime that he was evading all that time and stuff like that. But yeah, though, okay. Low key, you know, he probably could have had the room with her outside and just had the address on paper for them, and whenever they wanted to come check, things like that. Well, I don't know. It could be so strenuous to the point to where they may, you know, actually track him to actual said resident. If they put the tracker on him, he probably would need to stay at that particular address consistently. So yeah, that could have been one thing, as far as when they put the, you know, the little thing on your leg that they put on your leg out there. You know, some of y'all cats know what I'm talking about. Now, I ain't never had that on my damn leg, but I know about it. Some of y'all cats know what I'm talking about.
Hey, what the French toast is there to think about?
Yeah. Yeah, when they put the little thing on your leg, and yeah, you can't move around a certain type of way.
Dark, so we couldn't really see, but I'm like, what the heck? And so I literally had to sit down and talk with his mom about that, about me feeling disrespected, about people not understanding boundaries and not respecting my boundaries and all that. And she turns around and does the same thing to me. So then we're arguing back and forth, whatever. I tell her, get out of my room multiple times. She wouldn't leave. Eventually, after we were done arguing, she left. Fine. Boom. I thought that was over with. I'm packing my stuff up to leave, y'all. So her breast is literally touching my breast because we're about the same height. And so I simply tried to maneuver my way away from her because, number one, I was not trying to fight with her. Number two, I'm not trying to get myself in trouble here in Alaska. I am a Black woman here in Alaska, and as y'all know by now, this is a white family. They can say anything to police. The next thing, I'm the one being arrested. So
typical black male problems when he dealing with a white woman. Hey, listen, look.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
So now she's starting to see. Now she's seeing the dynamics of when it goes down like that. You know what I'm saying? When dealing with when the black people deal with the opposite race goes wrong. I mean, I'm just being honest out here. That can happen. That can happen, and we all know these as facts.
I was like, oh, heck no, right? So I try to get myself out of the situation. And mind you, again, she is pressed up on me. So of course, if I maneuver, I'm gonna touch her a little bit. But again, I was not trying to hit her. I was not trying to fight with her. I guess when I maneuvered, she said that I touched her. But again, it was obviously an accident. And guess what? If he wasn't pushing up on me in the first place, that would have never happened. All of a sudden, this woman shoves me, right? Cool. I still never did anything. I kept it cool. Then she goes to punching me in the shoulder. That was like the third time she put hands on me. And I said, that was it. So I like, yeah, in my head, I was like, she got one more time to put hands on me. And then she put her hands on me one more time. And yeah, we got to fighting. Okay. So I shoved her down on the ground. I am not proud of it. Since then, I've asked God for forgiveness because this woman really got me out of character. Shoved her on the ground. She started looking up at me with water in her eyes. Like she was so surprised that happened. It's like, you did what you did. And now you want to act surprised, right? There I went, I grabbed.
Oh yeah. And at that point, you are the bad black girl. Listen, look.
She want to run the street.
Hold on. Wrong one. My bad.
You, Al Bundy, are a pig. I repeat, a pig.
Ah, shut up! See, I don't give a rat's ass what you think.
Yeah. She was the bad guy at that point. Because mama knew what she was doing. The mother knew what she was doing. And she knew the scenario. She knew everything. She knew how close to get to her in order for that girl not to move around a certain type of way to where she had to graze her. Listen, look, man.
My stuff. I said, you think I forgot when me and Kennedy first got together, not even a few months in, both you and your mother was trying to bribe my husband to divorce me, talking about, oh, if you divorce her, we'll give you a car. Literally. And tell me why my husband was actually considering it. Talking about, oh, babe, let's just pretend that we're divorced so we can get the vehicle and then we'll get remarried. You know, he was even saying, oh, let's go through with the divorce and show them, because they wanted to see the proof. They wanted to see proof that my husband divorced me. Mind you, they had no reason to have a problem with me, right? But they tried to bribe my husband to divorce me so that they can give him a vehicle, guys. I kid you not. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. And so I remember I had even told his cousin about that situation. I said, yeah, like your grandma was really trying to.
Okay. So that's the end of it. But the thing of this is, real talk, you know, this is crazy. And this is what happens in some situations like this when some people get into divesting situations or decide to marry the opposite sex without, I mean, not the opposite sex, but the opposite race without actually, you know, vetting the family first and things like that. Like she said, at first, you know, she already knew from what he told her now, only going by what he told her. She knew that he came from a crazy background, just like she did. They actually trauma bonded, you know, basically that's what she was explaining. And the issue of this is that, yes, you know, he did not want to let his family go and things like that, even after being treated a certain type of way, stuff like that. She obviously had let her people go in order to be on her own like that. She followed him thinking that he would lead her in the proper way. And sometimes that's how it goes. Some of you ladies out here are following the wrong men.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. You know, she said she was Army, you know, ex-Army, stuff like that. So I don't know. She could have had benefits, whatever, maybe or maybe not. Doesn't seem that way because of the way she's living. But that's a huge issue when a lot of people get together through trauma and stuff like that. This is not cool. This is not good living. You know, this is very destitute. You know, sad situation that both of them are in, you know what I'm saying? Because both of these individuals are in a very delusional and toxic mind space. You know, it just is what it is. It just is what it is, man. Hey, listen, look, get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure that you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.